So here is Professor Sher Ali with us. He was a scientist at National Institute of Immunology and later he joined Jamia Millia Islamia. Today we have the honor that Professor Sher Ali has joined Sharda University and on my request he is here with us. So sir, welcome to my channel. Its name is Vinam Guidance, a simple channel on YouTube that mainly works on teaching and focusing on these subjects on life sciences and helps the students on how to crack CSIR NET exam as well as IIT JAM for MSc. So, sir, I would like to start with your college days. You pursued your BSc as well as MSc from Aligarh Muslim University from zoology honors. You completed your graduation and post graduation, and genetics was your mainstream. So my question is, after doing these two things, graduation and post graduation, what was the main reason why you opted for PhD? Why what drove you to go for PhD program?
Sharath, it is true that I got my BSc degree, BSc Honors Zoology Main from Aligarh Muslim University and MSc again from Aligarh University, opting for genetics as a main subject. But then I will take you a little back down through the memory lane. During my high school, I used to interact with a teacher who used to teach me biology. And I will ask question in the class. He used to encourage me. One day I asked him something, and then instead of replying, he says, Sher Ali, when you complete your plus two and
Right, sir.
graduation and post graduation, you go for research.
Right,
And
sir.
that somehow went all the way into deep in my mind. And I realized that perhaps I am fit for science. That's number one. Number two, I also realized that there are people, they do science. And I used to feel fascinated because knowing something
Mhm.
out of nothing used to
Right,
be
sir.
absolutely enticing proposition for me. And I met scientists who used to come and deliver lecture during my MSc days, and teachers, they will speak. Uh, Everything quietly, I used to listen and I used to think and absorb. But I had a somehow very strong innate drive. I would not say innate potential. I had innate drive to go for science. And then biology was my subject or domain area, but then I developed a lot of fascination for genetics. And the reason that I developed fascination for genetics is because I entered into Aligarh Muslim University way back in 1972, just after clearing the plus two. And
Right, sir.
I used to have the huge big library, what we call Maulana Azad Library in Aligarh Muslim University, not knowing that I'm a very junior student.
Mhm.
I used to go almost every section in the library, just randomly pick up the beautiful books and read and study. Whether I'm able to comprehend fully or not, that is immaterial. And I ended up reading books like Sinat Dunn Dobzhansky, that is genetics and life of Mendel's and so on and so forth, also other scientists that kept on telling me that these people have devoted their entire life for the cause of science, despite the fact that they may not always have resources and means. That
Mhm.
also strengthened my thoughts and my desire to continue to do that. The other thing in the class I used to do is to ensure that I have to make my career. So I would probably be very careful looking towards the teacher in their eyes as a curious little boy without muttering a word. And they used to sense it.
Right, sir.
The crosstalk between teacher and me, between me and my teacher used to be often through eyes. And then they themselves will ask me if I have a question I can come out with, and they will answer. So
Right,
I
sir.
think I have been very blessed person that I got very nice teacher. And
We
I,
are blessed to have a teacher like you, sir.
yes, and I used to respect them often without any inhibition, I'll go and ask them for their book. They were a bit hesitant in the beginning to lend me their personal book, but later on they gave me. And true to my words, without spoiling their books, I gave them back. The other thing I would like to share with you,
Yes, sir.
I used to read the book and then I used to write. I used to make note out of it for three reasons. One, practice of writing. Two, clear my funda. Three, then I used to teach to my classmate and other student, just like that, talking, teaching, interacting.
Yes, sir.
That is how it used to clear my own doubt.
Right.
And nobody knows, but I used to go and used to indulge in something called tuition. So in tuition, I used to make some money in the hostel in the University Aligarh.
My God.
And that money I will use for my personal thing. But in the process, I have to work very hard to be able to do my work and then indulge in tuition and make sure that I'm doing good job. So gradually and slowly things started working for me.
Right, sir.
Securing first position was, I think it was Ashirwad of my parents and also Ashirwad of my teachers.
Obviously.
My own role is almost zero because that was only because of the Ashirwad of my teacher. And I still think some of my teachers who are there alive, old, I don't sit in front of them on the chair because I think they are my guru. So that was the story. Motivation came from teacher. Motivation, part of motivation also came simply by looking at scientists, attending their lecture. And I used to ask just one question. What is the universe? In the universe, what is the actual status or place of this Earth, planet Earth? Do we have life elsewhere beyond? You might be surprised that at the age of, let's say, 18 or maybe 17, when I entered into Aligarh University, got the admission in BSc, I used to think along this line, not because I'm spiritual, but because I have been a student of theology also.
Right, sir.
And theology and comparative religious study compelled me to find the home carry message or take home message in all these holy scriptures.
Right,
And
sir.
I, for one, have great respect for Hindu mythology, for Muslim religion, for Sikh religion, for Christians, for Jews, for Jain. They all have certain things for the betterment of the mankind, which I sometimes use or give or cite an example when I deliver lecture. So, in other words, I had a seed to do science, but the seed was taken care of by my teacher and by the circumstances, and it was nurtured, and then it became a little plant, and then finally grew, and so on and so forth. I was given a job in the university immediately after PhD in Delhi University. I went back to Aligarh.
Okay.
And I was assured that the job will become permanent for a while, for a couple of years. I'll have to teach as on ad hoc basis. I accepted, I taught. I still remember I will draw the diagram on the paper. Each invertebrate, vertebrate diagram, I will prepare 50 times, maybe 40 times, 35 times, until the time that I remember everything by heart. I still remember water vascular system of Kynodermata. I will draw on the board, label this. And a student will say, wow.
Right, sir.
But I also knew deep in my heart that Aligarh University as a temporary lecturer, that's not my destination.
Correct, sir.
I grew very restless. I applied for Humboldt Foundation Fellowship. And of course, I applied for so many other things also, but Humboldt Foundation Fellowship from Germany clicked. And the person with whom I happened to work was the postdoctoral student of a legendary scientist we know as Susumu Ono. I don't know if you know this. He was a Japanese, settled in California, very bright person, member of PNAS, that is this National Academy of Sciences, USA. Very knowledgeable person. And he came out with a lot of theories. Some of his theories and hypotheses turned out to be incorrect, but doesn't matter. But he was a great thinker, philosopher, friend of scientists, and so on and so forth. I happened to rub shoulder with him and also I attended his lecture. I asked question. Unfortunately, most of my questions will have a tilt towards spiritualism. And when you
Okay.
have a spiritual question in scientific gathering,
Right.
people often either don't understand or they feel jittery and they don't reply. Although I used to be extremely polite because I know that I'm small fry and they're big people. Even today, for example, your Shyamal Banerjee, I'm just sharing with you. I asked
Mhm.
him, and you were there, that what
Mhm.
is there in universe when it is expand, because when we say universe, that means we are accommodating
I remember.
everything which exists. Huh?
I remember that meeting with Dr. Shamal Banerjee
Yeah,
when you asked the question that if it is expanding, in
yeah.
what
Where does it go?
context it is expanding, where it is
Yeah,
expanding.
yes. So he avoided, and I wanted him in front of all the people that he should engage me or he should get engaged by me so that we can have a fruitful intellectual discussion. But that's okay. So if you look at it, I think my journey has been very eventful, very fruitful.
That's it.
And I had great desire not to see the Europe and USA. No, that's not the issue. But to see how do they work, how do they get ideas, how do they comprehend things, how do they observe things and then make a story out of it. And connection and making a story is a beautiful way that I have learned from some people, which I can. Yeah, if you have a question, stop me because I'll continue to speak then.
मैं उसी पे आने वाला था सर।
Yeah,
उससे पहले मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता था कि आपके नाम के नीचे जब मैं आपका सीवी देखता हूँ
जी,
तो डिग्रीज का एक पूरा बंच है जिसकी
जी,
एक्चुअली फुल फॉर्म मुझे भी नहीं पता।
mhm,
पीएचडी के बाद कॉमा करके एफएनए, एफएएससी, एफएनएएससी, एफएसएएससी, आई डोंट नो व्हाट दीज आर।
yeah,
उसके बाद हमबोल्ड फेलोशिप जो आपने अभी बताई 2 मिनट
yeah.
पहले ही, और जेसी बोस नेशनल फेलोशिप जो डीएसटी से आपके पास है। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट आपके इतने सारे प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं सर। आई थिंक 8 to 10 प्रोजेक्ट्स, 10 प्रोजेक्ट्स जो आप कंप्लीट कर चुके हैं, 2 प्रोजेक्ट जो स्टिल ऑनगोइंग हैं, जिसमें से एक प्रोजेक्ट 180 lakhs का था, दैट मीन्स नियर अबाउट 2 करोड़।
Yes.
और एक प्रोजेक्ट जो अभी चल रहा है 65 लाख, एंड एक और जो 50 lakhs नियर अबाउट प्रोजेक्ट चल रहे हैं।
Yes.
इतने सारे आइडियाज कहाँ से आते हैं सर? क्या मतलब क्या क्या इंस्पिरेशन है?
That's a beautiful question. You see, if you look at the mathematician, he says, accept that this exists, whether it exists or not, this exists. I have never ever tried to study literature and then try to find the problem. No, that's not my style.
Okay.
I asked a question, this is the system, and I'm trained to use these techniques. I want to know what is there that I can do to be able to answer this question. Now, in order for me to answer your question in the most precise and specific manner, I'll give you one example. I worked for my PhD on an insect system, studied its cell cycle, tried to find out which part of the X chromosome is active, which part is inactive. This insect doesn't have Y chromosome, so in the absence of Y chromosome, how the gene dosage compensation takes place, if at all it takes place. In,
ड्रोसोफिला की बात कर रहे हैं सर?
no, it was Akita domesticus. It's known as Gryllus. In rainy season, it chirps and make noise. Drosophila, by the way, has Y chromosome.
लेकिन सेक्स डिटरमिनेशन के लिए तो वाई क्रोमोसोम यूज नहीं करते।
Sex determination Y chromosome के बगैर insect system Akita is very much there, and the mechanism is different because the gene responsible for sex determination is located most likely on the autosome or on the sex chromosome. Now, since we have talked how the ideas come, it's a beautiful
हाँ, राइट।
theme of discussion. That part I did during PhD, and I studied I used tree-shaded thymidine, that is radioactive thymidine. I used to give pulse chase experiment. I used to conduct like injecting the tiny insect with a very micro level syringe, very special syringe in the body. After every 2 hours, I'll inject. I study his entire cell cycle. In the paper finally was published in Chromosoma Impact Factor 5.11 in Berlin. Still, I have many questions about Akita domesticus, and one such question is whether the insect system has SRY gene, whether it has Hox gene, whether it has homologous of Hox gene, whether it has paralogous gene. because I don't have lab, because I don't have regular student with me, because I don't have chemical at Sharda University, I cannot possibly go for it. But these are beautiful, still undone aspect of science. So I have never ever tried to go for something called tight jacketing the science or scientific research. Why? Because open your mind, let there be a fresh air coming all the time, and you think and ask question yourself. For example, in 1997, I was approached by Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun. A couple of my friends came
Oh,
and they asked me that we have got money from World Wildlife Fund, and we will give you 5 lakhs rupees, maybe more if you want. And we want you to work on rhino and make a DNA probe for rhino.
okay.
Without realizing the challenges or nitty gritty or anything, I immediately said, yes, I will do it. And
Okay.
that, yes, I will do it. When I said, after when those people left and meeting was over, my student says, you know, what did you do? I said, no. Because you have
Hmm.
made a huge, big commitment. I would not say you have made a big mistake, but it's a huge commitment. What will you do? I said, just watch me. So they arranged the trip, and we went all the way to Jaldapara National Park, which is in West Bengal, technically close to Assam. And
Hmm.
Jaldapara and National Park, Kaziranga, they don't have corridor. So, in other words, Jaldapara is a confined area.
Hmm.
Uh, what about 400 for whatever acre land? And rhinos, to cut the long story short, rhinos' blood sample was taken by the veterinarian after shooting them and paralyzing them, and then giving another injection to make them come out of their unconsciousness. And we tried this. And the way to go is that we conducted something called a restriction survey. And I published a paper and I talked about restriction survey, and I still give lectures about restriction survey. Restriction survey means it's a beautiful theme of research. Nobody taught me. I imbibed based on the paper which I read, and I got the idea. If you take any DNA
Hmm.
and cut with enzyme, the first question that you have is which enzyme to cut. And the question is that we usually use 4 cutter, 6 cutter, at the most 8 cutter. Why? The longer will be the sequence recognition, that is 8 cutter or 16 cutter, bigger will be the fragment, less will be the sites for their recognition. So mathematically speaking, 4 cutter enzyme will recognize in any genome so many sites that they will make small fragments, which you if you run using agarose gel electrophoresis, you will see a smear. You don't see a band. But within the DNA, you also have chunk of repetitive DNA. And therefore, those chunk of repetitive DNA will appear if your enzyme and DNA combination luckily is correct. So your question should be, how do you know which enzyme to use? And answer is that it is not something which you know. You have to go and do something called empirical optimization. Half a
That's
dozen
okay.
enzyme, maybe a dozen enzyme, an enzyme that you have, or maybe your friends have enzyme. So you have to have very cordial relation with other lab people so that you can borrow their precious restriction enzyme. And that's exactly what I did. We conducted restriction survey and we found that, well, we are able to come out with the hypothesis. There are enzymes that they generate band, and these band then we cut from the agarose gel and purified the DNA and then cloned them. After cloning, then we sequenced them. After sequencing, then we found out what kind of sequences are there. Now,
That.
if these fragments that I'm talking about, if they are there and they cross hybridize only with the host that has been instrumental for us to give us the fragment, that means it is unique DNA sequence, it is a species specific. Now, let me put this in a slightly simpler manner. We generated a DNA fragment by using EcoVar1 enzyme. EcoVar1 is also an enzyme which is used in cloning. And this fragment turned out to be so very interesting, 378 base pair to be more precise. It only hybridizes with the rhino DNA. It does not cross hybridize with any species like cow, buffalo,
Okay.
goat, sheep. it is so precise, so specific, that it doesn't cross-hybridize with two-horned rhino, that is
Right.
Rhinoceros
Okay.
bicornis. Now you can ask
Okay.
the question, where did I get the bicornis sample? I wrote a letter to a very lovely lady in South Africa, South Africa, University of Cape Town. She sent me the sample of Diceros Rhinoceros bicornis species, and she gave me subspecies DNA sample also. We conducted experiment. We demonstrated they don't cross hybridize. We published paper in Molecular Cellular Probe. She also got authorship, and then she was so happy with me that she sent me a thesis of her student, and she gave me $150 for evaluation. And we became a great friend. So you can say that it was a little hunch, little gut feeling, but it turned out to be so very rewarding. And the rhino work, I think I must have given close to about 60, 70 lectures all over the country in forensic science laboratories, showing that wildlife forensic is another angle of forensic science. It's not only human murder or women rape. There are other areas where you have trafficking of the lion, tiger, cubs, rhino,
Right. Right.
polar bears, and so on and so forth. And people used to feel thrill. Many girls and boys say, "Sir, how about training us in your laboratory?" I says, "Come over." So many came, they got training, they learned the funda, they left. And some of them still remember me, although I don't remember everybody's face and name, but sometime in a meeting they say, "Well, you are Professor Sherley today. I recognize you. I worked in your lab." And it's a nice feeling, actually.
Right.
Um, that was one thing. Second thing is that we also worked on Sarvas Duausili, that is Barasinga. And we now know how to study animals and how to study and make probes and how to generate clones and how to associate them with other species and how to find out phylogenetically how close they are with another species and so on and so forth. So you see, Dobzhansky made a statement: in biology, nothing makes sense unless you see in the life of evolution.
We were visiting Delhi Zoo, and there was a guide. I think we were in BSc at that time.
Yeah.
So he told us, and we were with our zoology professor, Dr. Gyan Bhushan, at that time.
Mhm.
So there, the man itself, he told us that the DNA difference between ours and as well as chimpanzee's DNA, that
Yeah.
is hardly 1%.
Yeah, that
It
is
is
true.
99% match of DNA sequence. Only 1% difference is there that makes us the human beings and chimpanzee the chimpanzee.
That is true.
So,
I will explain you very easy to understand. You see what happens.
sure.
Imagine chimpanzee also have close to about roughly 20 or 22,000 genes, maybe 23,000 genes. That is immaterial. What is important is that if you look at chimpanzee like human, not all the genes are on and off. That's number one. Number two, the genes that we are talking about, any gene, if we compare base by base, there is a point mutation.
Right.
One single point mutation in sickle cell anemia makes the hemoglobin carrying the cells into a sickle shaped.
Sickle
And
shape.
then the oxygen will not be transported from one place to another place in a simple layman language. So in other
Right.
words, 1% difference in 7 billion sequences, it is a lot of difference.
Big difference. Big
Yes.
difference.
So you have to take into consideration the size of the genome vis-a-vis the switch on, switch off system, vis-a-vis the eukaryotic transcriptional machinery, vis-a-vis the transposon, vis-a-vis the reshuffling of the intron and exon, vis-a-vis the silencing of some of the sequences, vis-a-vis the insertion of the transposable element randomly and non-randomly.
Right, sir.
So the entire jigsaw puzzle of the genome evolution. I have a beautiful chapter. I will pass it on to you to read. This chapter is from Human Genome, but beautiful chapter. And I have a lot of material. I have to sort of segregate and fish out and probably use for.
Obviously, you must be having, sir.
Yes. So if you look at the whole genome, the way to go, for example, if it is unknown species, if I have to work, for example, in altogether new species, first thing I'll do is that I'll find out how many chromosomes are there. Second thing I'll find out Do they have X chromosome, Y chromosome? Do they have W chromosome, ZZ chromosome? What is the chromosomal level mechanism of sex determination? I will also cross hybridize and see if they have SRY gene, if they have a Hox gene, if they have DAS gene, if they have, for example, AZFA, AZFB, AZFC. These are the genes which are linked or located onto the human Y chromosome. For example, we published a paper showing that inter-DAS gene, which is seemingly reported to be present on the long arm of Y chromosome, actually the inter-DAS region are present on the short arm of Y chromosome. So in other words, DAS gene is a split between short and long. When we wrote this paper, it was summarily rejected. But I'm a hard person, hard nut to crack, to get cracked. So I went to Germany and brought 5 samples of European boys, and then we did fluorescence in situ hybridization. And to our pleasant surprise, and that reinforced our views, we again got signal on the short arm. And we published the paper. We also put the name of that German scientist with whom I happened to work for 2 years at Max Planck Institute for Immunobiology in Freiburg, Germany, a town also known as having close by a black forest. So what I'm trying to say is that some of the best brain in the world can also commit mistake because they are not God, they are human being. And my student, Sanjay Premi, who worked with me, who is now in US and settled in USA, he went to USA to and attended a conference where David Page was there, and David Page reported this finding. So he talked to David Page. He says, "Look, I got your clone. I paid $50 for the clone, and it so happened that it turned out to be located on the short arm of Y chromosome, not on the long arm. That is the Nature paper which says Y map is on the long arm." So he did not answer his question. He says, "Let me bring some coffee," and he disappeared. This is a true story. What I'm trying to say, I suffer from 3 things. One, that I was asked to leave NII when everything was going great. 2, in Jamia, I tried to establish myself. I did manage to establish. Lab was set up, students were working. Then I was asked to leave Jamia at the age of 65. That was a setback. And it requires altogether different mental orientation for me to reestablish things in Sharda. But I will do that.
Right, sir.
I will not only do that, I will gradually and slowly bounce back because I know exactly, unlike many of my friends and colleagues, I know precisely where to start. And one way that I have taken Abhilasha, she's a very lovely lady. I have immense regards for her. I have taken her into confidence that if we get a nice server, we can start all those genes close to about 400 plus that we have to see their protein structure and how are they folded and misfolded, and how many of them have an importance in the case of human diseases, and how often they tend to mutate, and how often then they are revert back or they are subjected to proteolysis to be able for the body to maintain homeostasis. But I was given to believe that server is likely to be given to us. And this server will be for all of us. You are included also, because at this age, if I publish one paper, it's not going to help me. But if you publish one paper, that will positively be
Definitely.
that I will feel happy. That's one
Definitely.
point. Second point is that, like we are confused about our infection, about microorganism, about protozoa, parasite, bacteria, these microorganisms or these protozoan parasites are equally confused because when they enter into our body and they invade, they have tough time. Why tough time?
Right.
Because our immune system gives them tough time. So it is a fight continuously. This fight is going on. That includes, of course, your coronavirus. In order for anybody to live a healthy, happy life, you have to be mentally aware of few basic concepts. Number 1, remain connected with nature.
Right, sir.
Eat in moderation, must sleep at least for 7-8 hours. Carry positive vibes and positive thinking. Even if you don't have faith in God Almighty, at least you acknowledge that this world, this universe, the moons, the stars, the sun, all these things have been created by somebody, whether I understand or not. And because I'm enjoying the fruit of nature, I'm enjoying the fruit of nature, therefore it is very important for us to be civilized, and therefore I must thank God Almighty or Mother Nature for sustaining us. That's number one. Number two, in life, take as much as you need, but don't pamper your greeds. Because if you pamper your greeds, you are depriving others. And this is the
Right,
root cause of the problem. Anybody can talk big, big things, economist, policy maker, opinion maker, planner, prime minister, UNO, USA, this, that. But what is going on is that none of us think one thing. How much do we have? Do we have extra? If we have extra, then why is it that we don't let it go to those who do not have that much also?
right, sir, right.
And this is a very basic things, which is what our Ved Puran, our Gita, our religious text, our Quran, our Islam, our Jain Dharma says,
Right, sir.
Christian says, Sikh Guru Nanak says that go and feed the poor and you will enjoy the immense pleasure and satisfaction. If you look at somebody who's really hungry, feed them. Look at the eyes of a little boy or little girl. If you teach somebody and give them a little pencil or pen, look at the eyes of those
Yes,
students.
sir. Yes,
So, what I'm trying to say is that as a human being, God created angels, humans, animals. Let me get back to you with these three examples. Animals have greed, or animals have desire, but they don't have intellect. Angels have intellect, they don't have desire. If a very lovely dish, for example, rasgulla, is kept in front of angels, they wouldn't touch because they don't have any desire.
right, sir.
They have intellect. They're very smart. And they have been programmed, like we program the machine to do the job in the world, like arranging rain and taking care of rivers, oceans, mountains, this and that. Science may not agree or disagree, but that's different thing. Similarly, animals and angel, other side, humans have both, that is desire and intellect. Then humans have been made superior species. And in our religious text, it is said God has created human in his
Mhm.
own effigy, in his own image. So if there is a God, he must be like us, something like humans. Anyway, if you look at humans, they have greed and they have intellect. Now, there is a very fine balance between greed vis-a-vis intellect. How much to take, how much not to take. Humans often transgress, they don't stop themselves, and with the result then they commit atrocities. They commit atrocities on nature, they commit atrocities on human, they commit atrocities on fellow being, and so on and so forth. The result is that they keep crushing their soul, and the body is there which eats and then expels. So they become robo or machine because their consciousness is not healthy. So their soul is unable to give them feedback to be able for them to put them on the right track. So they are derailed.
Right, sir.
Now, having said so, if I tell you that if you control your two things, that okay, from now onwards, I'm not going to do anything which is inappropriate and is going to be hurting or creating trouble for others. I will do my job honestly, whether somebody likes me or not, that is immaterial. But for example, I will teach. If I don't know, I will tell the boys, for example, that I don't know, but I'll consult the literature and then I'll let you know, whatever. So, third thing is that we must also know as a human being, why is it we are there in this world? Are we here to get married and have half a dozen children and then have a car and a house and so on and so forth and go to masjid or mandir and so on? What is there that we are supposed to be doing? This question is very simple. God has sent us to this world. God has not asked us or given us uh, sheet of paper saying that you are supposed to be doing this. So, how to go about it? The way to go about it is that you meditate. When you
Right, sir.
meditate, you start having purification of the body and soul both. When you meditate, you start having a flashes, what they call kundalini, chakra. They are awoken. And when you have that situation, your mind becomes very sharp. And then you start looking around, okay, this is the thing that I do. How do you know that this is the job that you are supposed to be doing, that God wants you to do? Because the job that you do, if that gives you a lot of happiness, that is precisely what God wants you to do. So if I'm doing
Yes,
research,
sir.
God wants me to do research, guide the student, be nice to them, and ensure that I write nice record for them so that they are able to do further science. Because every human being is not only interdependent, but other non-human species are also largely dependent on human. Why? Because if you clear the forest and kill all the animals, the ecosystem will collapse and we all will die. And you can see, for example, the bushfire in USA, California, or
Absolutely.
Australia, or permafrost, or melting of the ice in Tundra, Taiga, and other areas in South Pole, North Pole, and so on and so forth. So what I'm trying to say is that be aware of the existence of nature. Then try to ask a question: what is the role that I'm supposed to be playing on this planet Earth by virtue of being a tiny mini particle of this universe? Second point. Third point is that, as Gautam Buddha says, at the end of the day, spend half an hour at least in a room, wherever, quiet place, and ask a question today: how much sensible things I have done and how much non-sensible things I have done today. So your everyday accountability will keep you on the right track. And to be happy for you and to prosper and to progress, if you have the desire and feeling that even frugal food and modest living is enough for you, of course, you will continue to acquire money and wealth, that's fine. But only with legal mean and not with illegal means. It may not give you a lot of, wealth, agreed, but it will give you a lot of satisfaction. And if you continue to thank God for His mercies, you will not only live a very fruitful life, you will be free from tension.
Right, sir.
Tension is root cause of diseases. Tension is also root cause of other anomaly. Tension is also root cause of cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, autism, high blood pressure, you name it, you have it. So to live a healthy life, you have to have a healthy brain. To be able
Right.
for you to have healthy thoughts, you have to have a healthy brain. Now it goes like that. Simple thing. If you have positive thinking, you have positive action. If you have positive action, you have positive habit. If you have positive habit, you have positive karma. If you have positive karma, you have positive destiny. So basically, you are the one who is able to create his own destiny. There is a big debate. There used to be a big debate. There will continue to be a big debate that whatever we do in life, we can reach to a point beyond that, it is dead end. We cannot change our luck.
Right.
I worked on this line. We can change our luck. God is the only supreme body who has all the tricks and all the knowledge and all the awareness. We can change our luck. How? Simply by being indulgent. What is indulgent? By letting others have the fruit of our hard work. You know, see those people, kisans who are sitting on dharna, somebody
Right,
is
sir.
also giving them food. Somebody takes care of their clothes and puts washing machine and do that. Somebody goes and gives them tea. Somebody gives them blanket. An older person needs medicine, is given. The person who's doing this kind of job, I think in my heart, I thank him and I bless him, and I think he's doing better than Professor Sher Ali, because he's he's literally doing.
Humanity is the biggest cause, sir.
Yes,
Humanity is the biggest cause.
yes, he's doing a great job. And these are the same Sikh people, that they are so modest, so humble, that if you go to their Gurdwara, they are Arab Pati, but they will take care of your shoes, they will feed you, and they will wash your utensil, and they will say, come again, because you are welcome in their Gurdwara. And this is what
Right,
Guru
sir.
Nanak has taught them, and they follow it. And
Right, sir.
interesting thing, if you look at it, all over the world in Gurdwara, Langar, there is no dearth and no scarcity of food. It's always available.
Never. It's always available.
Why it is available? Your government doesn't have money to pay the salary. Your Anathalaya doesn't have money to feed the poor children who are staying there. But Gurdwara always has food. Where does it come?
Always, always.
So this is a
These
beautiful.
people are so helpful, sir. So
Yes,
helpful. The
yes,
community is very helpful, sir.
yes. So if you look at a Sardar, you will find that they are absolutely loaded with money. And because they do a lot of charity, God is so happy that wherever they go, wherever they work, their money swells like exponentially, like polymerase chain reaction,
Right.
because they do the great job. I have been interacting with a lot of friends who are sick, and I am convinced that we all should learn such a lovely lesson from them. So, starting from awareness as a human, all the way to meditation, to prayers, to namaz, to going to temple, and so on, is something which makes you aware and then puts you on the right track. If you are able to do that, then you will be able to contribute. Remember, if a king fights and if you have a trouble in the country, he cannot make monuments. The Taj Mahal was not made when the Mughal king were at war. No. Similarly, you cannot do any constructive work if your mind is agitated. You must have
Right.
cool mind, and you must have good atmosphere. You must have nice friend, nice surrounding. Where comes your life partner? If you are a man, your wife comes into picture. If you are, if there is a lady, her husband comes into picture. So husband and wife should complement each other, and they should not try to nag or pull or come out with
Yeah.
this stupid thing that you have not brought jewelry for me, and today is my birthday, and you have not done this for me. It's a stupid thing. It's the most stupid thing. Because remember, your husband also has other things to do, not only to look after the family. So, what I'm saying is that your life partner plays an important role. If she also meditates, if she also follows, if she also has the same value system, if she also religious. My point of being religious is not to go to mandir, masjid, gurdwara. No. My point of being religious is that you goddamn become good human being. That is my religion. If
Right, sir.
and if you are a good human being, you have,
Completely agree.
yes, you have done it, and that's it. There is nothing else. You don't have to do anything. People
Nice.
who do not ever go to masjid or mandir or temple, doesn't matter if they are nice human being.
Nice.
Please ask
Completely
questions.
agree with you, sir.
Huh?
Uh, I completely agree with you on these
Yeah.
points, and these were so big words for me, for all the viewers. Probably this will give a very good lesson, very good message to mass community, who everyone who will be watching this video. So, but I would like to drag you back again back to the PhD and research aspects,
Yes,
because
yes, 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 yes,
your
yes,
channel is mainly
yes,
focused
yes,
on your
yes,
part.
yes. You see, I have said all these things only to enhance the level of awareness of the student. Uh,
Absolutely.
if I have to address the students for their PhD, first thing I will tell them very honestly that don't do research. Why? Because we are invariably try to correlate our educational qualification with the money that we earn, and this somehow becomes frustrating because the time, the efforts that we make, it doesn't translate into huge money often. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't.
Right, sir.
Second point is that if you insist that no, 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 you are going to do research, then there are few things that you must take into consideration. One such thing is that try to get education from an institution which gives a quality education.
Right, sir. That's a big point.
Second point is that when you do PhD, try to ask 3, 4 questions. First question, what is the educational background of this person who is going to be my supervisor, my PhD mentor? Second
Mm.
point, how is he as a human being? Third point, how much time can he devote for my work and for my activities? Fourth point, is he going to play a very healthy role as a mentor? Is he going to protect me and guide me step by step, just like Kumar makes earthenware, and then he ensures
Absolutely.
that it doesn't get cracked, and then finally he puts in the oven and bake it, and then finally put polish on it, and so on and so forth, and then sell it. So this is something that teachers are going to have everlasting impression on the student. Now, having said so, then comes the next question. If you are working in the area what we call literature or arts or other things where not much money is involved, that's fine. But if you are working in biological science or maybe chemical science or physics, where you need to have a lot of instrument and chemicals, then comes the real trouble. Where will the money come from? So if you have opted to work with a person who is smart, knowledgeable, he has grant money, and he comes from a good institution, your thesis will be a nice piece of work, and you will do that. Second point, when you are working as a PhD student, you have to be very aware how to write correct English. whether we agree or not, we love Hindi, we love Urdu, we love Sanskrit, we love other language, Punjabi, Gurmukhi, Tamil, Telugu, and so on and so forth. But the international language for communication is still the English. And no way you can deny yourself from this fact. So you must have power to express, you must be able to write correctly. You must also not fall into the greed of copy and paste business, which is very prevalent these days. The Turnitin program and all have been developed because people started copying, pasting, and then making false claim, which is unfortunate. A person is very knowledgeable, very good scientist, has a lot of money, comes from a good institution, has been himself there in foreign country as a postdoctoral fellow. He may not, at the end of the day, he may not be a very good human being. So you are stuck. He has all the qualities, but he's not a good human being. Now the next situation is that a person is a very good human being, is reasonably good scientist and has knowledge and has desire to help you. Second option. Third option is that your institute is not reputed, although the person scientists that they are working, they are good. So what I'm trying to say is that scientists, their knowledge, their background, their attitude, their mentoring role, the institute's background, overall atmosphere, departmental facilities, everything at the end of the day affect your research, affect your publication, affect your career, and so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
Now, in order for you to get everything in right proportion, you have to work hard. When you are in MSc, try to find out, try to visit people, try to talk to people, get in touch. If you write 10 people who are good in science, who are good as a good human being, and so on and so forth, somebody will say, okay, come and work with me. And you have to be aware that the networking is applicable also for the student. And when I was MSc student, I used to discuss with my teacher, and I came to know that one of my teacher in Aligarh Muslim University has a friend in Delhi University, Professor S.R.V. Rao. And then somebody suggested me, why don't you talk to your teacher in Aligarh? If he agrees to introduce you to Professor S.R.V. Rao, boy, you will be able to get admission in Delhi University. And I went there and I told my teacher, most politely, in a very polite manner, I said, sir, you taught me. Could you kindly introduce me to your friend, Professor S.R.V. Rao? I want to do PhD. I promise I'll behave like a real good student and I would not disappoint you. I can vouch for myself. He agreed and he took me with him in the train from Aligarh to Delhi and got me introduced to Professor S.R.V. Rao. And I started working there. And imagine on 1st of January 77, I joined the lab. But in 3 years' time, I got my everything done. And in 1981, in convocation, I got my PhD degree. And of course, I had 6 publications, 2 in chromosoma and 1 in experimental cell research, and a couple of other papers here and there like Genetica and so on. And I, after about 6 months and so on in Aligarh University, I got Humboldt Foundation Fellowship, and then I left for Germany. But let me also share with you, I knew that I'm going to get this German fellowship because prior to that, I went to Germany to attend a chromosome conference. I went to a church and I closed my eyes and I prayed, Mother Mary, you are the mother of Jesus Christ. I am in the church in front of you. I am nobody. Help me getting this fellowship. I got a flash. Nobody will believe my story. I got a flash. The flash said that, don't worry, you will get the fellowship. I wrote the project in Germany. I submitted the project using German money for postal charges. And then I came back to India. In about short while, I got the letter that done. But when I went to attend the conference in Lübeck, International Chromosome Conference in Lübeck, Marco Fraccaro, a professor who is no more there, who was the organizer of the conference, he knew that I'm a student of Professor S.R.V. Rao. He introduced me to other fellow. My PhD examiner was Professor Marco Fraccaro from Pavia, Italy. He was also attending the conference. He looked at my name tag, Sher Ali, India. He took me and held my hand and took me to Professor Alfred Grob. He says, this is the young man, Sher Ali. I have evaluated his thesis. I liked his work. I gave him A grade, lot of good things. And I only hope that he is able to get his PhD degree with commendation. But Professor Graf, this is a very sincere boy because the work that he has done is very difficult. It was extremely difficult thing he did. So when he said all these things, I came back and politely I told Professor Marco Fraccaro, I am applying for Humboldt Foundation Fellowship. Would that be possible for you to write a recommendation letter for me? He gave me a hug. He says, oh, young man, nothing doing. No, don't worry. I will give you as many recommendation letter as you want.
That's great, sir.
Yes. And then next day, Professor Alfred Grop called me through his secretary. He says, sir wants to see you. You are surely from India. I went there. I says, what the hell did I do in foreign land? Kya galti ho gayi? He
Right.
called me. He says, Sher, sit here, sit down in his office. And he gave me an envelope. He says, öffnen Sie bitte die Umschlag. That means open the envelope. So I opened. There were 100 Deutschmark, 4 note, 400 Deutschmark he gave me. He says, you are a student. I know you may not have a lot of money. Keep this money for your local expenses. I said, Professor Graf, thank you very much. You are very kind and I appreciate that. So, when you pray, doesn't matter where you pray, in church or Gurdwara or Masjid or Mandir,
Right,
it really helps.
If you pray by true heart, it's always helpful.
And I would also share with you when I got the things done in Max Planck Institute for Immunobiology. I started working every Saturday. There is a farmer hut, that is farmer bazaar. I will go to a church and I'll put candle there and I'll climb the stair and go all the way to bell, church bell, and I'll do this monkeying business. But I used to be very respectful because it was a divine intervention that I published 8+1, 9 paper. Now you can ask a question, what does that mean, 8+1? I can say 9 paper. No, 8 papers I published from Germany when I was there. After when I left Germany, 9th paper came when I was in USA.
Okay.
So the work that I did there, and that work was very interesting because we tried to show that chromosome 9th in Labius luticens is the X chromosome.
Right, sir.
That is the story. Anyway, so if you look at it, your cytogenetics to cell biology, to protein biochemistry, to DNA structure, to molecular biology, to recombinant DNA technology, to your this computer programming, to bioinformatics, all these things today have become like interdisciplinary science. And that is where Sharda comes into picture, that all of you have different expertise. But
Right.
all of you need to be a chariot like Arjun's chariot, where Krishna used to have the rein and 8 horses are running and he is taking care of his arrow and bow. Am I right?
Absolutely right, sir.
So we need to, all of us need to be a horse of a chariot, and the chariot actually is Sharda. And of course, Krishna is invisible to us, but that doesn't matter because Krishna will always remain invisible in Kali Yuga. However, if we sincerely and seriously try to involve him, he will be there. And trust me, he will not only do the play the chariot role, he will also feed the horses and he will also feed us also. So, we need to have faith in what we do, and we need to, fortunately, I run into a situation now that I have no greed whatsoever. If somebody asks me, I will correct his paper, and I don't expect him to put my name in his manuscript because I'm happy that way only, as long as he's able to get the paper nicely published and so on and so forth. By pooling our resources, we can do a wonderful job. By becoming Getrent means separate, individual, tukde, we will lose. So this is tried and tested mantra of success. And I think I'll be very happy if you keep asking questions, because then I'll reorient my thought and then start again responding to your queries related to a very specific topic or theme of research. Please go on.
Right, sir. So basically, India में अगर research की तरफ move करना है, so what I suggest to all my students and all my viewers to please crack CSIR net exam. So what strategies do you suggest? First of all, why they should crack CSIR net? मेरे मुंह से बहुत बार सुन लिया, but they would like to hear from you. Why CSIR net is so important for an MSc life sciences candidate, maybe biotechnology, maybe microbiology or any other field. And then how it helps in going for research and how it makes the career bright for any student?
That's a very appropriate question, Sharad, in the context of budding students or our country. Remember, there has to be a yardstick to be able for us, to be able for a university system or academic institution to judge the level of understanding of a student. During our time when I cleared my MSc, I got 400 rupees junior research fellowship from CSIR without any test, nothing. There was no test at all. Competitions were a lot less, population was a lot less, and therefore we got it. Today, everybody is trying. So there has to be a filtration. There has to be something called self-correcting mechanism. Using that, we can know, okay, this is good, this is bad. Now, CSIR test is important for several reasons. One reason is that you are forced to study and come up to a level. Second point is that it checks your knowledge, domain knowledge. It also checks your analytical knowledge. It also checks your comprehension. It also checks your ability to streamline your timing and adjust your timing and fix your priorities. So in other words, in couple of hours test or several hours test, whatever you say, you are able to get fully exposed. And mind you, the CSIR test or any test that in India we have prevalent with us is not one day business. It has evolved with the passage of time, and it has taken inputs and views of a large number of people based on their experiences and so on and so forth. I have been chairperson and member of the JRF SRF committee in CSIR and research associateship and so many project associateship CSR funding bodies. When they evaluate the proposal, they will call me. I used to be there. I was also member for 6 years in this your committee, what we call Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award, whom to select and how to do that. So in other words, how to evaluate a person's grant? What is there that you want to look at the grant? And I'll share with you very interesting thing. People have 8, 9, 10 huge, big publication, but they are all from USA. From India, they have not been able to do a single paper, even in so-called modest impact factor. Why? Because they are still basking in the glory of their postdoctoral study done in Europe and USA, which is wrong. Of course, in the process, they managed to get awards and honor, but that has no meaning. On the other hand, a person who has not been able to spend a lot of time in foreign laboratory, but still has worked very hard and done things in India and publishes paper, good paper, he is the original contributor. I'll give you an example. If somebody is working on signal transduction in NIH, National Institute of Science in USA, publishes paper in PNAS, very good, very nice. He comes back to India. He follows the same theme of research. Imagine a theme of research followed in USA is now being followed by the person who was working as a postdoctoral fellow in India also. You are not picking up India's problem. I was working on human system, but I also worked on buffalo. Why? Because buffalo is, damn it, our animal from India. People say, if you work so hard on human system, you will have papers in very big journals. I don't need that. I want to see why people are unable to publish quality paper on buffalo. So I started churning out paper after paper after paper, and DBT gave me fund. Lot of money, 84 lakhs rupees DNA sequencer I got from Buffalo grant, and the fluorescence microscope close to about 28 lakhs from DBT grant that is related to human systems. What I'm trying to tell you, all these activity really convinced me that I should use my Indian Bijli Pani, Indian boys and girls work in India, and adjusting, negotiating with my colleagues and institute and so on and so forth, and publish papers. So this philosophy of oneness and philosophy of uniqueness is something that you have to follow. And many students lose their track because they don't have good mentor. Many students have the good mentor, but they don't have initiative. And many students have initiative, but they don't have drive. Now, what is the difference between initiative and drive? I will explain that to you. When you start your car, you have started, that is initiative. Then you keep driving, that is drive. So we start the work, then again you go to the hostel, enjoy, and then sleep, or go and take the friend and go for a movie. No,
Right, sir.
Initiative and drive both has to be there on sustained basis.
Right, sir.
Many of my friends, including me, we never used to go to our hometown for festival like Eid, Bakra Eid, and this and that, and your Dashera and Diwali. Everything is done in the hostel itself. Parents forgot. I have a son also. Why? Career is more important. My teacher
Right.
used to say, if you are able to burn so much of your body that you only have bones, remember, the bones will regain the flesh on your body, but the time that goes away will not come back.
Right,
The
sir.
flesh on the body will come back, the time will not come back. And
Right.
this is my English teacher who used to say, and he taught me language, beautiful, nice teacher, and I still remember all his work, all his lessons, all his grammar that he used to teach. My Hindi teacher used to teach. I remember that. My mathematics high school teacher used to teach. You have to maintain a very cordial, good relationship with your teacher so that he can, excuse me, he can give you the very best that he has. And everybody has something to offer. Even if a poor farmer, a poor milkman also has 100 ml milk to give you. So your teacher is like a poor milkman. Take that 100 ml milk that is also going to nourish you. And the point is, I would say गुलों से खारों से तीरों से या सना से मिले, गुलों से खारों से तीरों से या सना से मिले, समेट लाओ मोहब्बत जहां जहां से मिले. Now
Yeah.
I change this. गुलों से खारों से तीरों से या सना से मिले, समेट लाओ तुम ये ज्ञान जहां जहां से मिले.
Yeah. बहुत बढ़िया सर, बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया सर.
So ज्ञान is not the monopoly of only a person who is very knowledgeable or is Bharat Ratna and so on. Gyan you can get even from a very small person, a driver, a shoemaker. I would also tell you one thing. Many of us are not very polite. Why?
Right.
I will tell you why. Our ego is bigger than our body weight and our body or our houses. Unfortunately, we should be polite. What is the fun of being polite? The politeness allows you to remain alert and keep learning. When when Abraham Lincoln became obviously first president of USA, close to about 500 plus years ago, in the Senate, one person who had a feudal attitude, he humiliated him, saying that, Abraham Lincoln, do you know your father was a shoemaker? Abraham Lincoln could have asked the bouncers, the marshals, to throw him out of the Senate House. He did not do
Right,
that.
sir.
He left his presidential chair very politely, came down, reached to his seat. He said, Sir, you are so nice and so kind that you remember my father. Yes, I proudly tell you that my father was a great shoemaker. In USA, not many people can match his skill of making shoe. Sir, if by chance he has disappointed you in making your shoes, kindly let me know. I also, by the way, know how to make beautiful shoes, nice shoes, and I'll prepare a pair of shoes for you. I will not charge any money for you because if my father could not fulfill your aspiration, I am there to fulfill your aspiration. Sir, be nice to me. Allow me to help you to make a pair of shoes for you. Excuse me.
बहुत बड़ी बात है.
This is the Abraham Lincoln who was president of USA. He addressed the senator. Entire Senate House was put to shame. And the person who made such comment for Abraham Lincoln, you realize where does he stand in front of Abraham Lincoln? Remember this. So what I'm trying to say, if you are good and if you have inner strength, trust me, you would not be defeated easily. But you have to be careful and be on guard all the time. And this is exactly what a student should do. Reaching the height, reaching the excellence level, achieving something huge and big, getting the huge mark, easy. But what is difficult is awareness. Level of your awareness has to be very high. Today, during the days of internet that we live, it is easy for us to access the knowledge, but our time we will spend hours together.
Students mainly remain confused, sir, That how they should prepare for this these entrance exams, maybe NET or DBT
Very
or
easy,
whatever.
very easy. Almost everything is sold in the market. Everything. If you have CSR net pattern, books are sold. Read that. Buy. If there are multiple publication, I'm sure you buy all of them. If you don't buy, tell your friend, okay, you buy one copy, I'll buy another publication, another copy for 5 books, and you
Right.
attempt all the question. Don't only attempt the question. Sharat, you have asked a very valid point. You raised a very valid point. After when you have attempted this, write on the sheet of a paper these questions, get into the book and try to find out the origin and genesis of this question.
Right, sir.
Origin and genesis of this question. And I tell you, if you start doing work on this line, your gyan, your knowledge, your level of awareness will become very strong and powerful. And then during examination, net will become easy for you. But because you are preparing yourself for doing scientific research, you must try to understand the origin. For example, Mendel's law, 1:1, 3:1, 9:3:2, 3:1, monohybrid, dihybrid, trihybrid is something, if you look at it carefully, you will realize that probably he has faked the whole data. It cannot be possible. I will tell you why is it possible. It is possible because Mendel got friendly with the people who used to sell the seeds. And
Yeah.
even he is so friendly, he says, yaar, humko seed chahiye, but I need pure seed. They'll say, this is pure seed. I'll charge money, extra money, but I'll give you pure seed. He says, I'll give you extra money, but I will check it. He says, how will you check? He says, well, 8 days, plant will come up and then we will check. He checked. He did not start his experiment, and he got convinced that the person who is dealing with the seed is giving him the right seed. He got right seed. He got correct things. He did a lot of homework. He started experiment, came out with Mendel's law, what we call Mendelism law of dominance and law of independent assortment.
Independent assortment. Right, sir.
What I'm trying to tell you is that commitment and dedication. Put your 110%, it will be 100%. If you think my 110 is not going to be 100, damn it, put your 150% to be able for
Right.
you to have 100%. That's the mantra. There is no shortcut in life. No
Right.
shortcut. Now, last straw on the back of camel. Not many students understand the philosophy. Camel is a very powerful animal. The vertebrae of the camel is a huge, big one. But if you keep putting load on the back of camel, there comes a time that it cannot sustain, cannot carry that load. So one more straw is going to break the back of the camel. Student life is just like that. You continue to load yourself, your so hard work, that one straw on your back is going to make you collapse. And I experienced this in Germany, where I'll go in the lab at 6 o'clock in the morning. Lunch I will take in the canteen. Evening, no, nothing doing, just a cup of tea or coffee, and then work until 12 in the night. Either I'll walk or somebody will drop me if he's going through that in the car, because
My God.
if it is snowfall, then I will probably either walk, or because I cannot use bicycle. And
Right.
this used to be the situation that I will get hardly 4 hours to sleep. My body used to cramp, and I used to die to find a way to. Sunday, yes, I will take off because I have to clean my room, I have to clean my clothes, and so on and so forth. Saturday also, I used to spend time in the lab. 2 years time, made paper. But one thing was there, that I had a junoon.
Right.
Junoon in the sense that I have to learn so many techniques: cloning, radioactivity, how to make DNA radioactive, transfer, this, that, plate preparation, bacterial growth, virus intrusion, this, that, anything and everything which was there. And then photography, cell biology work, culture work. This helped me. Money was not a constant, facilities was abundant. I used to get a lot of money in the form of tax-free fellowship from German government. And I tell you, God has been so kind. I have no words to thank him. So I keep telling a student, if you think that you are confused, don't be confused. I'll give you a nice reco. You go to USA or Europe or anywhere and do research in Europe, and then you make your career. Many students in Jamia, 4 or 5 ladies and one
Right.
boys, they left for Europe, and they used to share lunch with me. And I used to console them that don't worry, it will work out for you. They are there in Germany now, they are doing very well, and they're having money and everything. And when they come to India, they visit me, and they have my very best wishes. So determine yourself, take a pledge. I will do it. If others can do, why can't I?
Right.
Mind you, people who made castles in Jaipur, Jodhpur, huge forts, Qila, they're also human beings. People have done great job in the world.
Right.
Sheer determination. You can argue that they were king, they had money, they had resources. Doesn't matter. What they had, which we often don't have, is the determination. It is the determination that makes you glow, and then that makes you achieve, and then that makes you rise, and then that makes you see the world is there in your hand. Mutti mein sansar aa jata hai. So
Right, sir.
there is no shortcut, number one. Number two, CSIR also has a policy that you fill the form, do this, do that, and probably you can make more than one attempt. But if you are very good, you can do in one attempt. Number three, rather, those students who have cleared CSIR test, be friendly with them, talk to them. If they spare some time, they will guide you, they will teach you because they have experienced this. And
Yeah.
the trend of tests and questions that also continue to change a little bit, not much. So you follow that also.
Right, sir.
Follow that also. Because today, for example, we have genetically modified organism, we have co-culture, we have crop, we have animal cell culture, we have cell hybrid, we have heterokaryon. Now these concepts, sometimes we have less questions from this field, sometimes we have more questions from this field. Don't just remain confined with the DNA, RNA, and protein. Go for organelles also, go for other things. Find out what is there going on. Read the history of science. Try to find out the life of a scientist. That also encourages you, that also motivates you.
Right.
The Charles Darwin says if a person has a big brain, he cannot survive. If a person has a big brawn, he is not going to be successful. But if a person has the ability to adapt and adjust with the environment, he will survive and
He
become
will
successful.
survive.
This
Absolutely.
is the gist of the origin of a species. So how many students are there that they study, they read The Origin of a Species by Charles Darwin? How many of us have been to London, Russell Square, London Museum? The basement of London Museum is full of those specimens with which Charles Darwin brought and kept it there. It's very nostalgic feeling. Why am I telling you? Is because people have given their life to do certain things, and we only have to use our imagination to learn from them, imbibe from them, and then improve it. That's it. That's all. Please go on. Ask next question.
सर दैट्स इट इतना ही पूछना था आपने बहुत सारी बातें बताई दिस इज सो ओवरवेलमिंग टू हैव यू ऑन माय चैनल और आई एम रियली थैंकफुल टू यू सर that you answered so many questions in great details and explained and covered almost all the aspects. So I'm very thankful to you, sir. Thanks a lot for being here. Thanks a lot for being with me.
You are most welcome. It is my honor. And anytime, if you want to,
My honor, sir.
yes, I will surely answer your questions and I will deliver another talk. No issue at all. I wish all the best to all your students. And I think today students are very lucky, very fortunate because they have all the paraphernalia and they have all the accessories that they need. Of course, they have to find a good teacher, but it is the job of the student also to politely but firmly involve teacher and ask them and interact with them so that they are able to get the best out of the teacher. Thank you so much, Sharad. It was
Thank
pleasure.
you, sir. Thank you.
Take care. Huh? Bye bye.